Breaking news tonight, our new reporting, the FDA zeroing in on the likely source of a parasite outbreak. The agency investigating iceberg lettuce from one particular producer sold at Taco Bell as the suspected source of the parasite outbreak that's made people sick in several states. What you need to know tonight. Plus, major city skylines nearly unrecognizable as dangerous smoke chokes tens of millions. People masking up, lifeguards pulled from beaches, a Major League Baseball game impacted as a doctor tells us the air is so bad it's like smoking 7 cigarettes. Our Al Roker with how long this could last. The flood emergency in Texas, desperate nighttime rescues, this family escaping the floods, waiting for help in their attic. Neighborhoods completely underwater. Kerrville, the site of that deadly camp flooding last year, hit again. The memorial to that tragedy now underwater. Los Angeles water main break, raging waters rushing into cars, homes and garages inundated. 2 men scrambling out of this sinkhole near the iconic Sunset Boulevard. This crater opening up in West Hollywood. Betting bombshell, President Trump's teleprompter operator accused of placing wagers on the president's speeches, taking home more than $90,000. Our series, The Cost of Denial, and the LA wildfire victims facing an unimaginable predicament, moving back into the homes they believe are unsafe. Major cholesterol breakthrough, the powerful new pill just approved by the FDA, why it could be a game changer. Dramatic video, people out on the water, rushing in, lifting up this plane in an effort to free the pilot trapped inside. And there's good news tonight. A couple who lost everything in a disaster, surprised with a new home. You'll see that moment. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Llamas.
And good evening. It's great to be with you on this Thursday. We want to begin tonight with breaking news on 2 major health emergencies, that stomach illness outbreak and the dangerous wildfire smoke outside. Just in moments ago, we learned that the FDA is now zeroing in on iceberg lettuce supplied to Taco Bells from a specific producer as a possible source of that parasite outbreak that's put a big part of the country on edge. The outbreak of cyclospora has caused severe stomach issues for nearly 7,000 people in at least 34 states. You see them right here. We're going to walk you through what you and your family need to know in just a moment. At the same time right now, tens of millions of Americans are breathing in the worst air quality in the world due to smoke from those Canadian wildfires. And you can see those skylines there. Some of the nation's biggest cities are smothered in a dangerous smoke, and some people are now masking up. Al Roker standing by for us with how long that smoke will last. But we want to start with Ann Thompson with the late-breaking details on that parasite outbreak.
Tonight, the FDA thinks a possible culprit for the outbreak in 5 states is iceberg lettuce, supplied to Taco Bell by Taylor Farms, according to a person familiar with the investigation. Nationwide, nearly 7,000 Americans have gotten sick with something called cyclosporiasis, a parasite-borne illness triggering cramps and severe diarrhea. Identifying a potential source is the first step in solving a problem that impacts 34 states.
And how soon could it end?
It could end several weeks after they've identified a source and been able to issue those consumer safety recalls or being able to kind of make sure that any source is off the market, out of refrigerators, off shelves completely.
In Michigan, there are 4,312 cases and climbing. One of them is Natalie Webb.
I don't ever want to have to experience anything like that again.
Taylor Farms, the nation's largest supplier of lettuce and leafy greens, has been linked to previous outbreaks. It voluntarily recalled yellow onions after E. coli was found at some McDonald's restaurants in 2024.
All right, Ann Thompson joins us now live on set, and so many families out there are going to be asking the same question. What should they do now?
The guidance remains the same, Tom. That is to wash your produce, only buy whole heads of lettuce. But we have some late-breaking news. Our source tells us this outbreak is now, they are looking this connection of lettuce in 5 states, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Indiana. So 5 states now. And Taco Bell, the restaurant manager mentioned in the piece, it voluntarily removed some produce earlier in this month. So they've been trying to take some action before.
Okay, people got to be careful, but we appreciate that new reporting. Thank you, Ann. Now to that other health emergency tonight. Tens of millions across the Midwest and the Northeast battling that dangerous smoke coming down from wildfires in Canada. Maggie Vespa reports from Chicago, getting the worst of it right now.
Tonight, a smoky cloak of misery covering millions across the U.S. A thick haze swallowing iconic landmarks like the Empire State Building in New York and Chicago's Navy Pier Ferris wheel along Lake Michigan.
It's insane here in Chicago. The smoke is so thick we can smell it through these masks, and officials today pulled lifeguards from these beaches, just pleading with people to stay inside.
Multiple Midwestern states now breathing the worst air in the world.
I've been pressing into my eyes because it's just like smoke.
It's hurting your eyes.
Yes, and you could smell it.
I was literally going, taking big, deep breaths, like every breath felt heavy.
In New York City, people masking up.
Right now, the air quality is at a point that we have not seen since 2023.
The culprit then and now, wildfires in Canada. This stunning video shows the smoke there from above. More than 100 fires deemed out of control. Tonight, officials stressing the health dangers even for those without respiratory issues.
At unhealthy levels, everyone, not just people with asthma and heart conditions, not just older adults, everyone may feel health effects.
Dr. Carly Hampshire warning our Erin McLaughlin.
Spending one day in poor air quality like this has often been compared to the equivalent of smoking about 7 cigarettes.
And back here in Chicago, as I took a picture of the city's smoky skyline, my iPhone assumed my lens was dirty. Tonight, danger lurking in the haze overhead, hovering across America.
Maggie Vespa joins us now live from Chicago. Maggie, you were masked up because it is dangerous out there. So many families have kids at camp and spending time outside. What are the recommendations for them in the days ahead?
Well, Tom, the ultimate guidance is, frankly, just to not go outside if possible, or at least try to limit your time outside, and definitely consider, officials say, wearing a mask, especially if you're in an area where the smoke is as thick as this. I mean, here in Chicago tonight, we can barely even see the skyline. Tom.
It is so thick over there. All right, we thank you for that, Maggie. We want to head to Texas now, and the relentless flooding there claiming even more lives. One of the hardest hit areas, Kerrville, the site of that deadly camp flooding just a year ago. Ryan Chandler's in the storm zone tonight.
Tonight, the desperate efforts to rescue families trapped in another historic hill country flood. The Guadalupe River again pushing a deadly surge of water downstream.
When they talk about a wall of water, it is literally a wall of water.
First responders battling their way through black water to reach those trapped in the middle of the night. Rescuing Robert Shelton and his family from their flooded home in Kerrville.
Within a blink of an eye, it was already waist level, and then the door broke open and more water came rushing in.
He says they sheltered in the attic for more than 2 hours until rescuers could save them.
I was scared the house was going to break apart.
Daylight revealing the heart-sinking scope of yet another disaster here in Texas. 2 people are dead, more than 70 already rescued from the waters. It's the second 1,000-year flood in just over 1 year. The devastated community still reeling from the unprecedented 4th of July flood last year that killed 119 people in Kerr County alone.
It happened again. Unbelievable.
A memorial dedicated to the victims of last year's floods unveiled just 2 weeks ago, now underwater. The major highways left impassable in and out of the area. The water swelling into homes here, leaving some, like Carolyn Lampy, unsure whether they'll have a home left.
Well, my husband is fixing to be 90 years old, so this is really, really hard on him. He's having a really difficult time wrapping his head about maybe losing everything, you know, at age 90.
You feel so much for that couple there. There are so many families like that. Ryan Chandler joins us tonight from Uvalde. And Ryan, there are still those camps along the Guadalupe River tonight, but we're being told they're safe, and there's a big reason why.
Well, Tom, there is a sense that Texas has made meaningful change in the years since last year's tragedy. A new law, for example, that prohibits camp cabins from operating in floodplains. That was a push that was led by the parents who lost daughters at Camp Mystic. And tonight, an inspiring sentiment from the parents of Lila Bonner, who say they hope their work has saved lives and the legacy of their daughter is one of a hero. Tom.
Yeah, tragic situation in that community suffering again. Ryan, we thank you for that. We want to get to Al Roker right now because, Al, there's a very dangerous situation in Texas tonight, and then more than 100 million facing these air quality alerts.
That's right, Tom, and we've still got another 24 hours at least before we see some break here in Texas. The rain has started to subside. That's the good news, but we still have flash flood warnings and flash flood emergencies, another 1 to 3 inches before this is all over. Then that air quality around the Great Lakes, it is from very unhealthy to hazardous for Chicago, Madison, on to Mount Pleasant, Duluth, Minnesota. We widen out. You see, it comes all the way into the northeast. And as we put the clouds of the smoke into motion, you can see we get a little bit of break in New York tomorrow with heavy rain on Saturday. But the air is staying bad into the weekend, Tom, for the Great Lakes. So big problems.
Yeah, people got to be real careful in the days ahead.
Absolutely.
Okay, Al, great to have you here tonight. To Los Angeles now and the wild scenes in West Hollywood. Rushing water from a water main break, sweeping over cars, damaging homes, even spawning a giant sinkhole right near Sunset Boulevard. Steve Patterson is there.
A surge of raging floodwaters rushing through the streets of West Hollywood. Look at the force of the water, thousands of gallons damaging homes and businesses along its path. This aerial footage showing the widespread flooding, cars smashing into each other, water filling this metro bus yard. John Kitties-Klimak from NBC Los Angeles was on the scene.
This is by far the worst because as you see everything coming down, it looks incredibly dramatic.
Officials say a major water main break caused the deluge early this morning. A sinkhole opening up near the Sunset Strip. This video shows two men as they scramble to get themselves out.
Whoa, did the ground just fall?
Watch this person caught clinging on in the rushing waters, struggling to keep from being swept away.
Now, the major operation happening in the middle of the Sunset Strip. Take a look at the sinkhole behind me. This is the middle of Sunset Boulevard. Part of the road and the sidewalk both collapsed.
Couple Stacy and Nate are in disbelief. In the garage below, they see at least 50 cars trapped under the floodwater, including theirs.
It's a complete mess here.
So officials don't know what caused the break, but noted that water main is more than 100 years old. No injuries reported. The drinking water is safe, but the cleanup here could take some time. Tom?
A wild scene there. Okay, Steve Patterson for us. The White House tonight suspending its teleprompter operator following accusations he was making tens of thousands of dollars by betting on what the president would say in speeches. Here's Garrett Haig.
When President Trump addresses the nation tonight, he'll do so without the help of his longtime teleprompter operator, Gabriel Perez, now on unpaid leave, after allegedly making more than $90,000 on the prediction market Kalshi from placing bets on the president's past remarks.
There will be a teleprompter operator tonight, of course, but it will not be the one, unfortunately, in that story.
Kalshi first spotting the suspicious bets on words and phrases in presidential speeches in March, then handing over their findings to federal investigators. The president's reaction?
He believes it's deeply unfortunate and, frankly, a disgrace.
The president's primetime remarks are set to focus on election integrity, and his push to pass a federal elections overhaul stalled in the Senate.
It doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country.
The president is expected to present declassified information he'll say shows foreign interference in the 2020 election, according to a person familiar. Years of recounts, audits, lawsuits, and reviews have found no evidence of fraud sufficient to overturn his loss to Joe Biden.
Why is the president unable to let this go?
Well, first of all, Garrett, I think part of the problem is that the media has refused to acknowledge that tens of millions of Americans across the country share the concerns of this president about the sanctity of our elections.
The White House press secretary says the president may also address the economy and the war with Iran tonight on this, the sixth straight day of those renewed U.S. airstrikes. Tom?
Garrett Hick will be covering that speech tonight for us. Garrett, thank you. We're back in 60 seconds with our series, The Cost of Denial. The L.A. fire survivors still battling with their insurer 18 months later and now out of money for their temporary housing. We're back now with our series, The Cost of Denial. And tonight, 18 months after the L.A. fires, families are still trying to rebuild. And some say they feel pressured to move back into homes they feel are unsafe. Here's Liz Kreutz.
A year and a half after the Eaton fire,
Chauncey and Libby Godwin are still displaced from their Altadena home. They wear masks when inside their living room, just as it was when they evacuated in January last year. The Christmas tree still standing.
It's hard to believe that it's real.
The couple says their house isn't safe to live in due to the smoke damage, but that they feel pressured by their insurer, Farmers Insurance, to move back.
They're kind of cartoonish in their villainy. It really feels to me that like they're sitting behind their desks, twirling their mustaches.
After months of back and forth, the Godwins say Farmers has now agreed to pay for at least part of the belongings inside their house. So far, roughly $150,000. But the bigger fight is over the home itself. Testing the Family Commission found confirmation of persistent carcinogenic and toxigenic residues in their house and recommended full interior demolition down to the studs, estimated to cost more than $1 million. But Farmers rejected that recommendation after its own testing suggested the house could mostly be cleaned, paying the family some $80,000 for cleaning and repairs of the home instead.
How much longer are you both willing to fight? We'll fight for as long as it takes.
Yeah. Oh, they found the right ones. If they want to fight, we'll fight.
But the Godwins are now among the 38% of LA fire survivors who report they'll soon or already have run out of their additional living expenses, money provided by insurance for temporary housing, known more commonly as ALE. Without ALE money, they're left paying for the mortgage on their home and a rental at the same time.
Looking at our rent and looking at how long it's going to take, it's an entirely frightening situation.
Farmers says it cannot comment on individual claims, but tells NBC News in part, our goal is to pay claims quickly and fairly, taking into account the circumstances of the loss and the terms of the policy.
If they can force us to cave, they don't have to pay for it. And that's what this is all about.
In fact, just next door, like the Godwins, John Most is also fighting with Farmers Insurance.
The window was melted shut.
Over whether his smoke-damaged home needs structural remediation or can just be cleaned. But unlike the Godwins, the Most family, including 3 young kids, made the difficult decision to move back in.
What reservations did you have about moving your family back in here?
For my wife and I, our biggest was, of course, the contamination.
He says last year, Farmers accused the family of delaying and prematurely cut them off from their remaining ALE. They were given $135,000 for cleaning and repairs of the house, a fraction of their policy limit, and far short of the $1.5 million the family's contractor told them would be needed to restore the home.
We said, okay, we need to try to get the house back in order, use what little money we received, and the rest we will do our best out of pocket.
Farmers won't comment on their case, but in a court filing denied each and every allegation made in a lawsuit the family has now filed against the insurer. In the meantime, John's left with the fear his house could be making his family sick.
We hope we did it right. I hope we did enough. Yeah, because don't want to go down there.
Liz Kreutz, NBC News, Altadena.
Yes, I like that.
And we're back in a moment with the people who snapped into action when a plane went down. Stay with us. We're back now with the FDA giving the green light for a new cholesterol pill. It's called Lipfendra. It drastically lowered bad cholesterol in clinical trials. It's said to be more effective than statins, but also more expensive. Also tonight from Massachusetts, new video of residents rushing in, lifting a plane in an attempt to free the pilot that was trapped inside. The pilot was the only person on board. He unfortunately succumbed to his injuries. When we come back tonight on Nightly News, the emotional surprise for a family in need. That's next. Finally, there's good news tonight about neighbors helping neighbors.
Are you kidding me?
A life-changing moment and a hug she'll never forget. Cindy Abbott was living with her partner, James Stetler, when the Cottonwood fire swept through southern Utah last month. This RV, the place they called home, burned up, along with everything inside. They had just moved cross-country to Utah in April and were managing a campsite.
Sorry.
NBC News was there last month, right after they saw the damage.
We had 5 minutes to get what we could.
But during their darkest times, they didn't turn their back on their new community, sticking around and helping rebuild. So, in their time of need, that new community stepped up.
We're not leaving. That's for you guys.
a local bank and Chamber of Commerce raising the money to buy Cindy and James a new mobile home.
What? Daisy, what?
This is one of the most beautiful places we've ever been, and not just the topography, but the people too.
I'm speechless about the graceful, the charity, and that the community members here have opened their complete arms and hearts up to us, and we just want to pay back.
Thanks for all you've been doing. Thanks for all your work.
All right, that does it for us. That's Nightly News for this Thursday. I'm Tom Llamas. We thank you so much for watching tonight, and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.